Hello everyone. Today we're looking at Kerbal Space Program, a sandbox spaceflight simulator. It is currently in a alpha pay to participate pre-order type of thing, kind of like how Minecraft was many years ago when you could pay $10 and get an early version of the game and get all the updates, early adopter type of thing. And I wanted to talk about it a little bit today. I'm a game developer, and I noticed I, in particular, am guilty of this. I tend to only ever talk about my own games, and I don't really talk enough about other games. And I think that there's a lot of interesting things going on out there, and I play games all the time. Like, basically, as much as I possibly can, I'm always trying out new games because it's fun, it's enjoyable to me, and it also helps me think about where I might want to take my projects in the future. And rest assured, all the games that you've seen out of Martian Arctic Games have been inspired by something or other at some point, sometimes more obvious than others. Cyberwing. So anyways, we're looking here at my attempt to, this is one of my best attempts to get onto the moon and get home alive. And I have never succeeded at doing that because this game is extremely difficult. There is real physics involved, real rocket science. It's not as hard as it sounds, but it's also not really particularly easy either. So you'll have to do some research online to get yourself going with Kerbal Space. You're probably going to have to look up some YouTubes on how to construct a rocket correctly to accomplish getting out to the moon or getting into orbit, or how to construct a plane that will actually fly. And then once you know the basics, you can go from there and start experimenting with your own designs. And that's really, really cool, I think. A lot of people might look at this kind of a game and think that it's too hard or that it's not fun because it doesn't hold you by the hand and take you to where you need to go to kind of experience the gameplay loop. But that actually is, the lack of that is actually part of the appeal of these sandbox games that have been so viral lately. And that's one of the reasons why they tend to go viral, is the story becomes really personal when it is not told to you. When the story of a game is something you come up with on your own. I built this ship, I designed it, I decided that I wanted to go to the moon. It becomes your own story. It's not that you're playing through someone else's, it's that you are creating your own. And that kind of thing really resonates with people. That you've seen all of the incredible things people have done with Minecraft, and you can see that people have done incredible things with Kerbal Space Program. There's a lot of videos up, there's a lot of mods of people designing their own parts, and people making space stations and moon bases, and this game is growing at an incredible rate. And I think that the retail, well, let's not say retail, that kind of has a bad connotation to it after Minecraft. Not that there's anything wrong with the direction that Mojang's taking Minecraft, but there definitely was a slowdown in new features when they started honing the product more for more of a kind of streamlined retail product. Anyways, neither here nor there. Kerbal Space Program, they are adding new things all the time. It's expected that they'll add another planet, which would be that moon you see is not another planet. We're talking about like a Mars type planet that you could travel to. That would be, if you think it's hard to land on the moon, wait till you see how hard it'll be to land on Mars. And they're expanding the game all the time. And I think that you can see that this happens because in a sandbox game you're really able to create your own story. And those stories, when you tell them to people, they have sort of a natural kind of feel to them that really makes people interested in the game. A lot of games that are more abstract, like chess or poker or League of Legends or Magic the Gathering, are a little bit nonsensical to the uninitiated. No one who doesn't play Texas Hold'em knows what the river card is. No one who doesn't play Magic knows what tapping is. No one who doesn't play League of Legends knows what the boots or shoes are. And these are something that, if you're telling the story of your experiences in these games, it's not going to make sense to someone who's never heard of the game before. But a game like this I built my own rocket today and I landed on the moon. That is a story that resonates. That's something where people go, wow, really? Like, that's interesting to me because I know what a moon is and I know what a rocket is. Same idea with Minecraft. I built a castle today and a creeper blew it up. People go, wow, I know what a castle is, but what's a creeper and how did it blow up a castle? Well, it's this monster, and it starts this dialogue that gets people interested in the game and it spreads like fire. So that's something that sandbox games like this really have going for them. Now, this game in particular is really personal to me. It kind of drove me to start doing these, which, by the way, I'm terrible at. I realize that this is awful, and please do me a favor and tell me that you hate this, and I'll never do one again, and I'll go back to just making games and never say anything on YouTube again. But I love this game because I really think aerospace and space travel is awesome. I think that the time when we were first building the space program, when we were first creating vehicles capable of bringing people outside of the atmosphere into orbit to the moon, I think was one of the most romantic and interesting times in human history. And you can see me here about to land on the moon. This created a narrative for me which was so personal and so compelling that this game just swept me off my feet. I was thinking about it all the time. How am I going to land on the moon? What kind of rocket designs can I try out? And it really keys into my tastes in particular. And I think that there could be a sandbox game for everyone. Maybe there's people who want to make their own mechs and put their own stuff on mechs. Maybe there's people who want to build a castle and defend it against oncoming enemies and do this with their friends, and maybe from first person view where they can get into it and see all the places that they've constructed. Look at Dwarf Fortress, which is another great sandbox game that creates just insanely awesome narratives. I almost cried in my game of Dwarf Fortress. That's how powerful these games can be. And it is just such an exciting space for design and development right now. And I think anybody looking into making games, or if you're listening to this and you somehow have at your disposal hundreds of millions of dollars, for God's sakes, make a game like this, and don't ever make a first-person shooter where you just drop in and shoot people in an auto match system or with a story. Don't ever do that again. We've really covered that space and everyone's sick of it, everyone's bored of it, no one's buying them. People want to play this kind of stuff. They want to have narratives that are more personal, that are more interesting. And people that aren't into the games want to hear stories about things that are interesting just in general. And I think that this game really gets in there. Now, you're seeing me I'm about to land here on the moon, and I don't end up with enough fuel to get off, and it really sucks because I really wish that I had been able to complete this mission. I ran out of time. Life beckons. I have other things to do. But if this is something that interests you at all, aerospace, space travel, building your own rockets, making your own planes, I can't recommend this game enough. It's brilliant, and it works very well right now. There's alpha problems and whatnot, but I think Kerbal Space Program is an inspiring game. If you are a game designer, this is something you should absolutely check out and research, study, ruminate upon, and think about how you can incorporate it into your own games. And again, if everybody doesn't hate these, feel free to tell me if you do, but if everyone doesn't hate these, I'll do another one. I want to do Anno 2070, another brilliant game that I played lately. I'm going to talk about that, and maybe DayZ, and whatever new games come up, maybe Castle Story when it comes out. If I decide to support the Kickstarter, I don't really like Kickstarters. I would much rather they do it like this, where you pay and you get the early beta, just like Minecraft did. I think that's the right way to do things, and I don't really like Kickstartering games for various reasons that I'll probably ramble about in another video. But anyway, I'm going to shut up now. Thanks for listening and enjoying games.